Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Car Operation. Today we've got a detailed review of the 2010 model of the Hyundai Shahzore, sometimes spelled Shahzore, in local usage in Pakistan. We're going to walk through the interior, exterior, engine, suspension system, electrical system, performance and price aspects, as much detail as we can pack in. So if you're considering one of these or just curious how it stacks up, stay tuned. Let's dive in. Starting with the interior, the Hyundai Shahzore is a commercial pickup first and foremost, so the cabin reflects that functional purpose rather than luxury refinement. The seating capacity is only for two persons in most configurations, which is typical for a pickup of this type. According to specifications, it is noted as seating two persons. The interior materials are basic. Fabric seats, manual adjustments, no fancy trims or premium leather. Door linings, armrests and other elements follow the work vehicle philosophy. The dash is straightforward. You'll find a speedometer, fuel gauge, indicators, basic knobs and vents. Nothing too sophisticated, but it's simple and robust. Because the Shahzore is built for utility, the comfort features are modest. There's limited sound insulation, minimal soft touch surfaces, and in older models you may not find advanced infotainment or luxury amenities. That said, for its class it works. One key point is that visibility is good. Large windows, straightforward controls and a driver-centric layout help with practical day-to-day operation. For example, there's good mirror coverage for the outside cargo deck, which matters when you're using it for loading, unloading. In terms of ergonomics, the steering wheel, gear lever, handbrake are placed in accessible positions. The seats are simple but tough, designed to handle the rigors of commercial use. One downside: if you're used to passenger car comfort, you'll notice more road noise, more vibration, and less refinement. But for a utility pickup that's expected. Maintenance access is good. Since many components are built for durability, owners have found ease of service over time. Turning to exterior design, the Shahzore has a boxy, practical look, very much optimized for functionality. According to specs, the overall length in certain older variants is 4,750 mm, with 1,690 mm, height 1,930 mm, with ground clearance around 185 mm. The wheelbase is about 2,430 mm in some older data. The front fascia features reasonably large headlights and a simple bumper design, strong side mirrors, and the rear deck or flatbed is large and open, designed for loads. The design is utilitarian, which means fewer frills, fewer body-style curves, and more emphasis on utility, deck length, side walls, open space for cargo, etc. Steel wheels 15-inch in many specs with tires like 195/80ths R15 are common. Because of its build, the Shahzore has a rugged look, strong limbs, straightforward lines, deck or sidewall options for cargo, and plenty of load space. For those using it in commercial fleets or for heavy use, that's exactly what you want. On the flip side, it doesn't have luxury styling or premium exterior finishes. Expect more in the sense of utility and less in the sense of show. Now let's talk engine, drivetrain, and mechanicals. The 2010 model and near years of the Shahzore are powered by a 2.6-liter 2,600 cc diesel engine in many Pakistani spec sheets. For example, specs show displacement 2,600 cc, maximum power around 85 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute and torque around 166 Nm at 2,200 revolutions per minute. The fuel system is diesel. Manual transmission, 5-speed manual, is the only option. The drive type is front-wheel drive in some older data. The compression ratio listed around 15:1 in some cases. That engine is not designed for sporty acceleration but for durability, load carrying capacity and economy in a commercial application. In practice you'll find that the Shahzore will do its job well for transporting goods, operating in rough city or semi-urban environments, and holding up under harder usage than a typical passenger car would. Performance-wise, because of the heavier body and utility focus, the acceleration is modest. The top speed is listed around 180 km per hour in some sources for lighter loads, but realistically when loaded you won't see those figures. Fuel economy is modest. Spec sheets suggest around 8 to 10 km per liter under mixed conditions in Pakistani settings. Since it's diesel and designed for hauling, fuel economy under heavy load will vary significantly. Owners should expect more fuel usage when fully loaded, in stop-and-go city traffic or uphill climbs. Moving on to suspension and braking systems, the Shahzore uses a front suspension setup such as double wishbone or double wishbone torsion bar in some data, and a rear leaf spring setup or semi-elliptic multi-leaf spring for heavy load support. For example, older tables show front, double wishbone and rear, semi-elliptic multi-leaf spring. Brakes. In some sources front ventilated discs, rear drums. What does that mean in practice? It means the vehicle is designed to take heavy loads, maintain structural durability under repeated cycles, and offers sufficient braking and ride quality for commercial use. With heavy cargo, the rear leaf springs will help support load, but ride comfort will be more utilitarian, stiffer feel, less refinement than a passenger sedan but with the benefit of stronger load-carrying architecture. Steering type is rack and pinion with hydraulic power assistance in many cases, making maneuver easier in tight city spaces even though the build is heavy. Some specs list minimum turning radius approximately 4.7 meters. So for users in urban Pakistan contexts that's a plus. On the electrical and systems side, being a commercial vehicle, the Shahzore doesn't come with high-end electronic features like infotainment touchscreens, driver aids like advanced driver assistance systems, or luxury lighting systems in the older 2010 model. Basic electrical systems like headlights, tail lights, wiring for cargo bed lighting depending on variant, and basic cabin electricals radio, AC depending on variant are present. Some of the later relaunched versions add more comfort features like power steering and air conditioning. For example, when the vehicle was relaunched under the name Dayhan Shahzore from Dewan Motors in 2018, air conditioning and power steering were added. That suggests in the 2010 model you may or may not have modern amenities. So when buying one, check condition of electrical wiring, switches, lighting, instrument cluster, and ensure maintenance history. Older vehicles often need attention to electrical grounding, light connections, switches and fuses especially in Pakistani conditions, heat, humidity, dust. Performance in day-to-day use. As mentioned earlier, the Shahzore will perform best when used for its intended purpose. Commercial hauling, loading, unloading, city-to-town transport, short-distance heavy load work. In such uses it excels because of its durability, simple mechanical design and ease of maintenance. Spare parts for major mechanical components are available regionally. For light usage or day-to-day family use the trade-off is comfort. You might feel the engine working hard when loaded. Acceleration is modest. NVH noise, vibration, harshness, is higher than a passenger car. Ride is stiffer and less refined. Fuel economy will not match smaller passenger vehicles. Also, fully loading the deck will obviously reduce performance. For owners the priority tends to be reliability, durability and utility rather than outright comfort or sportiness. One interesting point, given the engine is 2.6-liter diesel, torque at relatively low RPM 2,200 revolutions per minute means it has acceptable grunt for hauling. The transmission being 5-speed manual is simple, which in Pakistan market means fewer expensive electronics to repair. But you should expect regular maintenance of clutch, gearbox oil, and diesel system filters. If you are running on rough roads or with heavy intermittent loads, inspect suspension mountings, bushings, and deck mountings regularly. Now on to pricing. For a 2010 model you're looking at used market values because new production is long ceased for that year and earlier. Spec sheets list new car price for more recent models 2025 in Pakistan in the region of 2.3 million Pakistani rupees to 3.12 million Pakistani rupees for Shahzore variants. For older 2010 model used examples you will find wide variation depending on condition, mileage, maintenance, deck sidewall configuration, and local demand in your city. Because parts, service and loading use vary, you should check condition of chassis, for structural integrity, engine condition, diesel service, filter change history, suspension condition, deck bed wear and tear, and signs of heavy overloading or misuse which is common in commercial pickups. When assessing value ask, what is current running condition, how many owners, how many km or how many load cycles, any major rebuild. Also check for rust in frame, deck and body joints, check the cabin condition, check if the clutch and transmission perform cleanly. Given the simple mechanical design, a well-maintained Shahzore can offer many years of service, but a poorly maintained one may require big repair bills, especially if the diesel system or chassis has been heavily stressed. Because of its utilitarian nature, resale value tends to depend heavily on condition and purpose. Deck size, variant, flat bed versus deck with side walls, local demand, city versus rural, and whether it was used for heavy overloading will all matter. For example, if there is visible bending, welding repairs, deck damage, earlier accidents, those will reduce value significantly. Compare pricing with similar age pickups and factor in rebuild cost or major service cost into your buying decision. Maintenance-wise, since many parts are common and the design is relatively simple, servicing is widely available in Pakistan. Filters, oil changes, clutch service, diesel injection pump maintenance, suspension leaf spring replacement, deck refurbishment are all within reach. Parts cost will be higher than a small sedan but reasonable compared to heavy commercial trucks. Ownership cost is higher than a passenger car in terms of fuel, tires, maintenance, but the utility value compensates if you use it for purpose. In summary, the 2010 Hyundai Shahzore offers a very practical, purpose-built package. It won't match the comfort, refinement or fuel economy of a dedicated passenger car, but it rather provides robustness, load-carrying capability, durability and simple mechanics which are advantageous in the Pakistani commercial context. If you will use it for transporting goods, for commercial runs or for heavy-duty tasks, it is a very viable option. If you are looking for it as a daily commuter or family vehicle, then you may feel compromise in comfort. When evaluating a purchase, pay special attention to engine condition, diesel system health, suspension and chassis integrity, electrical system state, deck and body status, and overall maintenance history. Price should reflect not just age but condition, usable life left and level of previous load of use. Thanks for watching this in-depth review here on car operation. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our future reviews. If you have an experience with a Hyundai Shahzore 2010 or similar, please drop a comment below telling us your thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like, and any maintenance tips you want to share. Until next time, safe driving and smart buying.